You're going to love it, and that's pretty much it. All right, ready to get started? My name is Brother Free.
And Quab.
All right. First thing we're going to go over is as of I think last week, Detroit was pretty much on fire. And I know sometimes it's kind of hard to believe, but there was we know that the angels of the Most High was one of the plagues was to set was to set fires amongst the earth. And as a majority black city, we know that Detroit, because of the people who are in it, was considered that our cities would be cursed. And to get scripture on that, let's go to Deuteronomy's. Let's start with Deuteronomy's 28 and start at verse 1. Now we know through the blessing that our cities and as a people that we will receive blessings through the Most High. And we're going to read some of those blessings. Now we know that some are still joining us, and we want to let you know that through scriptures we found out that the so-called Black American or African American were one of the tribes of Israel through the Bible. And no doubt that this can be proved through the Bible. The Bible talks about the curses of Israel, that they would be taken on ships, that their children would be taken away from them coming off these ships, that they would be sold, that their women will be taken by their master and traded for molasses, which we know that was called bed witches. There was curses in the Bible about these people that they will be building for their masters, their homes, that these people will be in the fields and raising their children and bearing crops, but will not actually benefit from this. We know that these curses fit only one people. And actually, a group, when I say one people, I mean the Black Americans and the Hispanics. How these people will come over in ships, and how it would be female and male slaves. But what we're going to go through right now, and the subject we're going to talk about real quick is Detroit, the fire in Detroit. Can you give me 28 and 1? This is talking about the blessings of Israel, but Israel did not get blessed because they fell from the covenant of the Most High. Read 28 and 1, please.
Deuteronomy 28 and 1. And it shall come to pass that thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments which I commanded thee this day, that the Lord thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Read.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power.
So, if Israel kept the commandments and the statutes and the laws of the Most High, they would be blessed. Let's see some of the blessings that we have here. 3.
Deuteronomy 28 and 3. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field.
You see that? Blessed thou shalt be in the city and in the field. Meaning that their city will be prosperous. Their work will be prosperous. Now, if you look at the so-called Black American and the so-called Hispanics, our city is not being prosperous. Our cities are really terrible. With murder, high crimes, just name it, it's there. All right? So we're going to go and show you and match that up with the people. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Read that. Now we know that Israel was cursed, so let's find out what happened with the curse. And we're talking about Detroit City. Read.
So definitely we didn't get the blessings. I'm going to make that clear. Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes which I commanded thee this day, and all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So let's find out what some of these curses are that happen to the children of Israel. Read.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
See that? Cursed thou should be in the city. Now, we know our children are not safe, especially in Detroit and New York and Chicago, these high cities. And as a matter of fact, on the first day of school in Detroit, there was a shooting. And so now it's like we gotta, I heard someone say recently on Facebook, it's like we gotta send our kids to school with bulletproof backpacks, which is it's gotten that dangerous that we may have to be buying backpacks with bulletproof lining or something in it, Teflon lining. Okay, we're just going to go through a couple of these curses to show who we are, and that. Let's go to let's skip over and go to 68, Deuteronomy 28:68. Now, if I was to ask anybody, and we was playing a trivia game, who went on the slave ships? Who was on these slave ships? You know, and whoever been on, and the first thing you would think is black Americans. So let's find out and see if that was in the Bible. And also, on those slave ships, were they slaves or not? You would say it was the black Americans. And also, the Taino Indians and the Arawak Indians who were taken back across the Atlantic over to Europe. Deuteronomy 28:68, please, read.
Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
See that? Now, the first thing some people may think is that they're talking about Egypt, not understanding that when the Greeks came into Egypt, the original name was called Mizraim, or Mizrael, some may say. But the original land, when the Greeks came into it, when the Greeks came into that land, they called it bondage. They called it Egypt because they seen how much bondage in that land. And I'm going to show you that. Let's go to, if you hold that and go to Exodus 3, let's go to Exodus 20. Exodus 20 and start at verse 1. And I'm going to show you that that word means bondage, because we know that Israel did not go back into Egypt after they left when Moses took them out the first time. Okay, so we just want to get an understanding for our new followers and our new listeners who are listening out, that we're going to prove that we are the children of Israel, and that Detroit is one of the cities that was cursed during the Bible because of the people that's in it. Okay, read.
Exodus 20:1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Out of the what?
Out of the house of bondage.
So anytime they were talking about specifically the land of Egypt, he always said the land, and he also put the house of bondage. So Egypt means bondage because of the Greeks went into it and saw that and said this place was built with great slavery, great bondage. Now let's go back to Deuteronomy 28:68, just to get a clear understanding. Read.
Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So that means the Lord will bring thee into bondage with ships. Now there's only one group of people when you think of ships that they went on as slaves. Read.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
So let's go over that again. Let's think this. Read that slow. Read it again and break for me, family. Thou. Start at thou.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again.
See that? So thou shalt see it no more again, meaning the way you went on those slave ships, you will not be going back on those slave ships. Now, can anyone tell me what slave that was taken from Africa went back? None. Read.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
Now, the enemies. Who was the enemies? Israel had enemies of that time. Anyone who was not considered an Israelite was the enemy. The Africans, the Europeans, the Asians, because they didn't worship the same God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So these people were considered the enemies. Read.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman.
Means slave man. Read.
And bondwoman.
And slave women. Read.
And no man shall buy you.
The word buy you means to redeem you. And if you look, no one has redeemed, meaning to save us. Think about it. Did Martin Luther King save us? Absolutely not. Actually, it got worse when it was called desegregation. He pretty much fed us to the same people, which were the wolves who enslaved us. We were much happier, much together as a people, even though we couldn't drink at white fountains and go to, we had our separate restrooms, but as a people, as a nation of people, we stuck together. In places like Detroit, they had Black Bottom, which was a community where business and livelihood and actually it seemed like they almost had their own currency floating around. So the word buy means to redeem. Martin Luther King has not redeemed us. Malcolm X didn't redeem us. And don't get me wrong, they were great people, but they didn't help us. Okay? And Obama, he's not going to redeem us. Okay? And if you don't believe me, ask yourself, what has he done for the nation of Black Americans and Hispanics as of today? Okay? So we know that this curse has fit us. We're going to go a couple more. And then I'm going to show the clip of Detroit burning and show you why it's burning. Let's go to 47. Read verse 47. Read verse 47 for me, please.
Deuteronomy 28 and 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, and hunger.
Stop right there. So on those slave ships, we were hungry. Now, what's found out the Bible said that we were naked and then we were thirsty and we had chains around our necks. Remember, we would carry together as chains and lines. The Africans brought us to the conquistadors, bounded with chains. And that's how we came off those slave ships, naked, thirsty, bounded with chains on our necks. Read.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger.
In hunger, read.
And in thirst.
There's the thirst, read.
And in nakedness.
And there's your nakedness, read.
And in want of all things.
And if you ask us, what do we want as black people? We want it all, because we never had it. As of today, read it.
And he shall put a yoke of iron.
He should do what?
He shall put a yoke of iron.
He should do what?
He shall put a yoke of iron.
There's your yoke. On where?
Upon thy neck.
Upon thy what?
Upon thy neck.
Upon thy neck.
Until he have destroyed
Now,
thee.
the word destroy means to take away your identity. Destroy who you are. Remember, what's your name? My name is Kintakunte. No, your name is Toby, boy. Well, damn. And a few more times, your name became Kintakunte. Oh, Toby, however he had it. But my point is, I think you understand where I'm going with this. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you this clip of Detroit. And our city, and like other urban areas, are being destroyed because of these curses. Okay? Let's go and get one more curses. Let's get a couple more curses here, just for those. Go to verse 32. Now, on those slave ships, coming off those slave ships, were our people sold to another people? Let's find out if that's in the Bible. Read.
Deuteronomy 28, you said 32?
Yes, sir.
Deuteronomy 28 and 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Read.
And thine eyes shall look and fail with